Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and welcome to part 2 of my Charles Wilcoxon wrist and finger control series. So in this series, I'm going through the book, particular pages. I might end up doing the whole thing, I'm not sure yet. But today we'll do page 2. And if you remember from the introduction video, which you probably should watch first before you proceed here, I talked about different ways of playing this book, not just the way it's written, but different ways that I interpret it. And so we'll show you some of those today. So page 2 continues the wrist stroke studies. And if you remember from the first video, the wrist stroke we're using is not a tight stroke like this. It's a loose wrist stroke like this. So the stick is free to maneuver within your hand. It's not gripped like a death grip, okay? So there should be a space here, and the stick should move freely. Now, this is different than finger strokes, which look like this, or this, where I'm just using my fingers. There's always going to be a little bit of wrist involved in your stroke, but the ratio is what I look at. So in other words, when I do a wrist stroke, it's about 80% wrist and 20% of a little bit of finger assist, especially on the accents. However, when I do a finger stroke like this, that's like 90% fingers and just a tiny bit of wrist. All right, so you want to think of it like that. But it's never just one thing. There's other parts of your body that move, so don't be so concerned about that. Now, today we're going to play this, or these exercises, or this one on page 2. We're going to play this both swung and straight. And these accent exercises are really, really helpful, especially for playing concert snare drum and drum set. So you want your general height for your non-accented notes to be about 3 inches off the drum like this. And you want your accents to be about 8 inches off the drum like this. All right, so the first one would sound like this. That's the hardest one, actually, of the whole page, which is interesting. It's the first exercise. So it's very difficult for a lot of players to bring out those accents. So you want to start slowly, always, like this. See how they're kind of shouting out? That's what you want. Now, today the sticks I'm going to be using are these about 74 or 5 gram Pecan sticks, the reverse tip that I make. I really like these for playing these kinds of accent exercises. So we'll start with this page, and we'll do it straight. So, straight 16ths at quarter note equals 124. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, hopefully you see when I play the accents, especially with my left-hand traditional grip, that I'm letting the stick bounce or move freely. I'm not doing this. All right? That's not a very expressive sound, and it locks you down where you can't do anything else because you're grabbing the stick. Next, we're going to play it swung. Now, when I say swung, we're talking about like kind of a bebop swing. So it shouldn't sound like this. All right, that's a little bit square. It should sound like this. Now, I would definitely suggest putting the metronome on 2 and 4, which is what we're going to do now. So we'll play it swung at quarter note equals 220, but the metronome on 2 and 4 would be on 110, if you want to do it this way. So here we go. And we're doing, just like before, each exercise twice. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how that works. Now I'm going to show you a couple different ways to interpret this. And there's many, many ways. We'll just do a few today. So in the last video, I showed you a way where you could play diddles on all the accents. So number 2 would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that works great for this page too. But we're going to do the opposite today. So we're going to play the non-accented notes as diddles. So we'll play the accents as written as single strokes, and all the notes in between are played as doubles. So they would be 30-second notes in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's a good one for you marching band guys out there. Next, we'll swing it. So we'll do the same thing in swing with a swing feel. And we'll do that once again at quarter note equals 220, but we'll put the metronome on 2 and 4 at quarter note equals 110. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a fun one. Finally, I'll show you how to do it with triplets. So you can play it with singles, but my favorite way is to do doubles. So a sticking that's really good to fill in is right, right, left, right, right, left. Or right, left, left. But when you combine those into a 6-stroke roll, those make great fill-ins for this. So after every accent, that becomes a diddle triplet. It's a little tricky to understand, but so number 2 would sound like this. So my underlying pulse is triplets. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I add that left hand, so we'll try this page now, each one twice, with the triplet fill-ins. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's extremely useful if you play any kind of jazz, any kind of shuffle feel. It's very reminiscent of a guy like Philly Joe Jones, who used these kinds of stickings all the time in his solos. So I hope you enjoyed this page 2, and we'll be back soon with the next page in this series. Thanks.